Hello everybody. Here we are going to present a title named Kata Devs, Navigating Overlook Vulnerabilities in the Sea of Million WordPress Sites. For starter, let me introduce myself. My name is Rafi Muhammad from Indonesia. Currently, I am a security researcher at PatchTech, also known in the internet with the username of Iraiski. I am mostly focused on the web application security. I am also partially active as a CTF player for SKSD team from Indonesia. I'm also a bug bounty hunter and of course PhD engineer. So for the intro, in the first place, why target CMS from the security research perspective? So CMS platform itself is still the first go-to solution for managing content on websites without the need for technical knowledge. So basically CMS mostly used by non-technical person to create a great website. In 2022, over 67% of websites utilize the CMS. Also, most of the times, CMS has a lot of features for us to check for vulnerabilities. After that, why are we targeting WordPress? First of all, WordPress offers around 43% of all websites. And also, it has around 34%. The websites are in the top 1 million of websites. Also, WordPress has a CMS market share of 63% in 2024. It is much higher than any other CMS platform like Joomla, Drupal, and Wish. It's also an open source. It's pretty easy to familiarize if you are a beginner to security research. And of course, it's in PHP. So we will get to know WordPress itself. So WordPress has like a three different components. The first component is the core, which is the CMS platform itself. The second one is the plugin, which is an additional piece of software that can be installed on WordPress website to extend the functionality and add new features. We also have the theme, which is similar to the plugin, but the main purpose of it is for the visual appearance of the website. So when doing our research, we are mostly will be finding a vulnerability in the plugin itself because the theme mostly doesn't have a lot of features in it. For some cases, there might be a premium theme, not a free theme that have like an all-in-one solution. So basically, in that kind of theme, you have a lot of features to check. Okay, so we'll get to know the WordPress free repository itself. So the WordPress free repository itself hosted like about 60K of plugins. It ranges from like 10 active installation to like 5 plus million active installation. It also have 12K themes hosted in the free repository. So there is a lot of plugins and themes for us that can be used for research purpose. So we are moving on to the scanning WordPress codebase. So WordPress all core plugins and themes has a CVN or track repositories. If we got a word or regex pattern to search for a potential affected plugins or themes, let's say we want to like search for this regex in any plugins or themes in the free repository. There is a tool called wp-directory.net. Yeah, it's the example view of the website. Or also, if you want to deploy it yourself, they have also like the GitHub repository for us to manually deploy the tools inside of our server. So we move on to the research target. So in order to do a proper research in WordPress environment, we have to make the right decision on what plugins or theme that we will be researching. So there is a graph that if the plugins or themes have a lot of popularity or has a huge active install base, so the likelihood of critical or impactful vulnerability found or exist is really minimum. That's because like a huge active installation of plugins or themes mainly already audited enough because it's also open source, and actually the code quality itself is generally much better than the low installed on plugin. So you have to choose here between if you want to try to find a vulnerability in like a high installation count plugin and themes, and you probably will not get a nice finding. But if you want to try like research on like a low install home plugin like in 10K or 50K installation count, you might get a decent finding on the plugin itself. So my initial approach for doing research in the WordPress environment. So for the free version, we can fetch the plugins or themes via the installer, via the WordPress core itself. For premium version, we can try to fetch the null version. The null version itself is just simply like the cracked version of the premium plugins or themes. So there is a lot of websites that hosted null version of the plugins and or themes. One of the example is the weadown.com website and also the wplogger.net. Yeah, disclaimer for the null version because it's could be dangerous only test in an isolated environment because some cases we do find a backdoor code on the null version of the plugin or themes. Also after that, I usually analyze the code, additionally using a dynamic analysis such as XD.Tools. So choosing priority for phones in WordPress environment. So basically, I have a list of vulnerability type to find when I'm first trying to research on a plugin or theme. So the first phones that I will look for is the privilege escalation. The second one is XSS. Why XSS is the second priority for phones? Because in WordPress, basically because of the behavior of WordPress, if you find a single XSS in WordPress, you can basically escalate your privilege to any role in WordPress because you can just simply register a new user with an administrator role. The third one is SQL injection. And then the fourth, because it's PHP based, we also look for PHP object injection or initialization. The next one is RCE, of course. Also, we have to look for LFI because it's PHP. And then the last one that I try to look for is arbitrary file read and deletion. So we move on to the case studies. First, we will take a look of the overlooked XSS case studies in WordPress. So the first example is one of the CPE that I found, which is a site-wide reflected XSS in a previous library. So some details about the vulnerability that it is introduced in version 1.08 and it is patched on version 2.5.10. The vulnerable code age itself is around 8 years and 1 month. So this library is massively used in WordPress plugins and themes. It is approximately installed in like 1,300 of free plugins and a couple of the themes in the WordPress free repository. So by combining the active installation of the plugins and themes, the active installation of the previous library is around 7 million. So the background story of this finding is initially I am looking for phones on table press plugins, which is using this library. Notice that it used a previous library, and that because I didn't find any interesting vulnerability in the table press itself, so I decided to find vulnerability in the library itself, and turns out it is vulnerable to XSS. So yeah, we jump into a little bit of the code review. Here we can see in the right side of the slides, there will there will be a call to the add sticky function. So in the WordPress, there is a feature called admin notice, which is a feature for the developer to create a pop-up message in the admin area. So basically, in WordPress, the admin area itself will be using an endpoint of wp-admin. So basically, the add sticky function will create a message to the admin area. In this case, we can see that it uses a fs request get function with the purchase plan parameter, and also in the below it's using the purchase email parameter. So the fs request get function itself just like a simple function wrapper to fetch a request global variable in PHP. So the add sticky just simply will call the add function, and then the add function will process the message to the message object, and the message object will be stored in the _admin_message object. And then this admin message object actually will be called when the application tries to call the admin notice hook function. So we can see that it will try to do an iteration on the admin message variable, and then it will call the admin notice.php function, which in the right side of the slides, it will just simply echo the message via the parse variable. So because the fs request get function itself just simply achieve or receive the request global variable from user, and there is no escape or sanitation on the data, we can basically achieve XSS on these cases. So what about the patch from the vendor? So the patch from the vendor is they are adding like an additional function named fs sanitas input, which will be used inside the fs request get function. So basically the fs sanitas input function will sanitize the input using the sanitas text field function. The sanitas text field function itself basically just a function to strip any of HTML tag or HTML string on the input. So we move on to the example exploit. In this one, we have two cases for exploit. The first one is the opt-in cases, and the second one is the skip opt-in cases. So when you try to install a plugin in WordPress, sometimes the plugins allow the users to opt in for like a newsletter message or like a promotion message and any kind of message. So basically, we can pop the reflected XSS based on the user's option if he is opt-in or skip the opt-in. So for this example, we will try to demonstrate with the opt-in example with this POC demo. So we are using the TablePress plugin as an example. We are using the vulnerable version, and then the admin try to click the opt-in. So it's opt-in to get email notification for security and feature updates and so on. So admin in this case allow to continue and accept the opt-in. He then check his email for the confirmation link for the opt-in message, and then after getting the link, he just simply can visit the opt-in confirmation link. After visiting the opt-in confirmation link, we can just simply put the example of XSS payload using the admin account to test for the XSS. In this case, we put the XSS on the purchase plan. So the XSS is triggered using the purchase email. So basically, the XSS can also be triggered on any WP admin. So in this case, we test it on the options generals.php file. So basically, this reflected XSS can be triggered on any of the WP admin area. That's why we call it like a site-wide reflected XSS. Next case studies is the site-wide unoutscored access in Lightspeed cache. So the vulnerability details is introduced in version 5, patched in version 5701. The vulnerable port age is around 1 year and 3 months. It has 5+ million active installation. So the background story of this vulnerability is I initially looking for broken access control on the API, and turns out I do find the broken access control on the API, but it also produces an unoutscored access in Lightspeed. So as we can see in the example of code review, there is like a register as root function, which will register a custom API endpoint named using a CDN status endpoint. It will check the permission using the isFromCloud function. As you can see, the isFromCloud function just return a true. So basically, any unauthenticated user can visit this endpoint. So the callback parameter is set to the CDN status function. If we see the CDN status function, it will basically call the update CDN status function. The function itself just calling another function, which is the process CDN status, with our supplied post parameter of result. In the process CDN status function also, it will call the admin display succeed function with our supplied input, which is in the result variable. So basically, the succeed function itself will forward the message, the MSG variable to the add notice. So it is the same scenario as the previous, which is the vulnerability resides in the admin notice feature. So it will add the notice with that message, and then it will build the notice using the build_notice function, and it will basically return the HTML string with the message, or in this case, on the ASCII variable directly to the HTML without any synchronization or escape. So the patch from the vendor is they basically first try to fix the broken access control by applying some kind of hash check in the function itself using an MD5 check of a secret token. And then they also use a lot of div, but yeah, they also apply an HTML function to like escape the input from the user. So yeah, the example POC for this is a simple pull request. You can specify the access payload inside of the result line service parameter, or you can also specify it in the result underscore message variable. So we will test this example POC. Yeah, so in this case, as usual, an admin account, and then as an authenticated user, we just perform this pull request containing the access payload to the CDN status API. Yeah, after executing the pull request, admin can refresh any page on the WP admin, and it will trigger in the WP admin area. You can also test with the different variable, which is the underscore MSD parameter, and it will also trigger the access in the WP admin area. Okay, we are moving on to the last cases for the XSS. So we have XSS in advanced custom tools plugin. So the details of this vulnerability is introduced in version 6.10. In version 6.16. The vulnerable code age itself is around 1 month, which is quite short compared to the other vulnerabilities. It has active installation of 2+ million. This vulnerability is also unique because it involves a vulnerable WordPress core function. So this vulnerability can only be exploited in WordPress core function prior to version 6.3. So the background story of this vulnerability is initially I'm looking for XSS on the custom fields implementation of the advanced custom fields plugin itself, but yeah, I found a different case of XSS in unrelated function in the plugin. Yeah, so if we try to look at the source code review, we can see in the left side there is a current screen function which will set this view variable to the get post status parameter. So it will use the Sanitas text field function. As you are aware from the previous example, the Sanitas text field function will try to strip any HTML tags from the input, but it will not strip like or escape string like double quotes or single quotes. So in these cases, if we find sanitization using this function, we can still achieve XSS if the string is placed inside of single quotes on the HTML attributes. So we have an admin body class function, which is an action from the WordPress core itself. The function itself will append our previously stated this view variable to the classes variable, and it will just simply return the classes from the function. So if we look closely into the WordPress core code itself, that is located in the wp-admin/admin header.php, we can see that the WordPress core will fetch the value from the admin body class action or filter from the admin to the admin body classes variable, and then it will simply echo the admin body classes variable to the HTML string in the body type HTML. So there is no proper sanitation done in these cases. So we just can simply put our DOM-based XSS payload on this and all in XSS. So for the patch from the plugin side, they decided to use a function named as _appr function. This function is different from Sanitas text field function because the purpose itself is actually to escape strings inside of in HTML. So it will escape single quotes and double quotes in the string. So it is safe to use this function for these cases. Also, from the WordPress core side, the core security team also decided to use as_appr function to the admin body classes variable. So you can see the example payload for this. So it's different from the other two XSS cases. In these cases, we can only trigger this XSS on the specific endpoint, which is wp-admin edit.php with post type set to SACF -group. So we can set our XSS payload in the post status get parameter. In these cases, we just because it is in the body tag HTML, we can use the onroad call to test for the XSS. Yeah. So as an admin, we can just simply visit this endpoint and trigger the XSS. It's not the last one. The last one for the XSS cases is the WordPress core authenticated XSS. So in the WordPress core itself, we have like several roles for users. In this case, we will demonstrate the XSS on the contributor role on the WordPress core. So it's introduced in version 5.9 and it's fixed in version 6.5.5. Vulnerable code is around 2 years and 5 months. Active installation is mainly because it is affecting any of active WordPress core instance. The background story, okay. Yeah, actually this only patches like 2 days ago, in Monday. So yeah, initially I am searching for any tools on the register Gutenberg blog process. So as you can see in the website of the slides, we have a render block for template part. So in WordPress we have a feature called block, which is just a piece of code that can be used from the visual editor side to display some kind of information. So in this case, the vulnerable block is the template part function. So it will retrieve attributes parameter. So in these cases, the vulnerable attributes is the attributes tag name function. It will be constructed to the HTML_tag variable. It will use the s_attr function, but it is not enough to prevent XSS because the HTML_tag function itself will be appended directly to the opening tag and closing tag of the HTML. So we can just simply put like a script and space src to our JS file and we can execute XSS. The patch for this vulnerability is the core security team 2 days ago just implemented check whitelist check using WP KSES load HTML. So this is basically just a limited set of load HTML tag, which consists of tag like div. I believe it's h1, h2, and h. So we cannot input any other tag such as script. Yeah, so for the vulnerable block, we can just call the template part block in the content and we specify the tag name attributes to our payload, which is script src and our XSS payload. So in these cases, we are using a contributor role user, and then we will try to draft a post. Yeah, and then we copy the XSS payload on the block itself to the content parameter in the host request. We then try to host like an example of polling.js file in our local host to just test the trigger of an alert. Yeah, after setting up the src parameter, we can test the XSS by just simply viewing the preview of the host. So in these cases, because it is only performed by contributor role user, the main target for this kind of XSS is basically for the administrator to trigger the XSS. So basically, contributor role cannot publish a post or a page. It can only like make a draft, and it will need to be accepted by higher privileged user. Yeah, so we move on to another vulnerability type of vulnerability. Now we are going to discuss about the privilege escalation case studies. So the first one is unauthenticated account takeover in Essential X1 for Elementor plugin. Some of the details is introduced in version 5.4.0. It's patched in version 5.7.01 and the final report page is around 7 months. It has active installation of 2+ million. So the background story of this vulnerability is I am initially searching for phones on the custom registration process of the plugin because the plugin have many features on it. But it turns out the account takeover itself is found in another feature of the plugin. So the plugin has like a login or register function, user function, and then it handles couples of action on it, like a login and a register, and send password reset, and also to reset the user password. So one of the functions that is vulnerable is the reset_password function. So you can see in this example is the rp_login variable will be set to our supplied post parameter of rp login. So in these cases, the code will try to fetch the user object using the get user body function, using the RP underscore login variable. So the login in this case is just like the username or email from the user. So it then will check if the user exists, and then it will try to perform a reset underscore password function on the user object with the supplied post parameter of the user. So basically, with this case, because there is no check of password reset key, we can basically change the password of any users in the site. So the patch for this vulnerability is simply by using the check password reset key function, which will check a unique secret key from the database. So basically, we will receive this key on our email when we are trying to reset our password. So the POC demo is quite simple for this one. First, we try to log in as admin with our password, and it cannot because there is a wrong password. And then we try to execute the script with target user admin and password change 123. So if the password is changed, users will be logged out from WordPress. So admin cannot log into their account. And we can just simply log into the admin account using our setup password, which is change 123. The next one is an authenticated privilege escalation in XDMega plugin. So it is the vulnerability package is around 4 months. It also has classification of 100K. So the background story of this is I'm initially searching for things on the customer registration process, and turns out it is vulnerable to the privilege escalation. So it's rather simple from the code, because the function itself has like a custom function to register a user. It is the HTMega, this Ajax register function. So basically, the function itself, the function will try to construct a user underscore data variable. As you can see, the variable also accepting a role field to it. That is directly supplied by the user using the post parameter of right underscore role. And then it will check the data using the HTMega validation data, and then it will try to register a new user using the WP underscore insert underscore user function. So the HTMega validation data itself only checks the string validity of the data. It's like checking the length and then checking the set of characters. So it is not checking if the user supplied an arbitrary role on the request itself. So the patch is rather simple, just by removing the role field from the user data variable. So the user can only register to a default role set by the administrator. Yeah, we move on to the POC demo for this one. It's also quite simple. First, we check from the admin panel. Yeah, we check there is only 2 users, and then we try to execute the script with username point and password set to point 123 with administrator role. So after we execute this script, we are creating a user with an administrator role. So you can see that there is a new user with an administrator role. And we can just simply log into the account and gain an administrator role privilege. Yeah, I think this is the last cases of the privilege escalation on this presentation. It is an unauthenticated account takeover in Jupyter X1 plugin. So it is quite different from the other example because it is a premium plugin. Since it is a premium plugin, we cannot trace back the version of it, but it is patched in version 3.4.3. It has also active installation on 100K. So the background story of it is initially I just performance on the customer registration process, but the contact of itself is not in the registration process itself, but in the social login feature. So as you can see in the left side of the slides, we have like the ISS handler function, which will construct an email variable and the FBID variable directly for user input post parameter. And then it will try to construct a user ID variable using the email access function with the email parameter that we supplied previously. So it will basically just check if the user is accessed from the supplied email. After that, it will call the set user Facebook ID function using the user ID variable and the FBID variable. So the set user Facebook ID function is basically will set the user metadata of the target user, in this case the user ID. So the custom metadata that will be set is the social media user Facebook ID metadata with the Facebook ID value. So basically with this, because there is no check in place, we can basically set any user's social media user Facebook ID meta value to any string. Why is this important? Because there is also another function which is called Facebook log user_in, which will fetch a value variable from get parameter, and then it will try to search a user using a get users function, and it will search for a user that has a specific value of social media user Facebook ID, and then it will construct an ID variable from the user object, and it will simply will set the current user and the authentication booking of the request to the targeted user ID. So in these cases, we can just log in to any of the users by only knowing the email. So for the patch for this vulnerability is because the implementation is wrong on the social login feature. So basically, the vendor decided to apply a proper patch by checking the access token of the user itself. So now the users need to supply their in this case it's Facebook social login. So the users need to supply this Facebook access token, and then the application will directly retrieve the email and the FBID directly from the Facebook Grab API endpoint. So for now, users cannot set any of the users' metadata anymore. Yeah, as you can see in the next page, that the user ID is now constructed from the API email, which is come directly from the Facebook endpoint. Yeah, so you can try the demo POC for these cases. We can now log in as an admin, as an example, and then in this example, we can use any email on the admin account. For these cases, we use admin@admin.com email. And then as an authenticated user, we can just simply execute the script using the targeted admin email, the social login path, and then any string that we want to set the FBID to. In this case, we set the FBID to 1337. So after executing the script, we get the link to log in as target users. In this case, is the administrator account. So as an authenticated user, we can just simply visit the link from the script, and then after visiting the link, we can just simply log in as administrator users. So yeah, we come to the end of the presentation. For the closing thoughts, the conclusion. So the conclusion is first, WordPress is pretty much still relevant from a security research perspective, especially from the open source security research. Most of the critical and impactful bug found are rather just a simple but overlooked bug. There is also still a lack of details and attention to commonly used action or process in WordPress plugins or themes. It is also need more research needs to be done on the most popular components in the WordPress ecosystem. Also, there is a lot more potential research on exotic China tech, like the free use example, specifically towards library and sub-library code. So yeah, any questions maybe from the audience?
Oh, thank you for nice, great speech. I have two questions. The first question is that, so do you start, when you read the code for finding vulnerability, do you find the code that occurs vulnerability directly, then take a reverse track to the surface or surface from the core? And the second question is that why you take this research on? Did you find yourself any kind of standard to choose plugin if you establish your own WordPress blog? I mean, in the security perspective, I mean, how to find some more safer plugin?
So the first question for finding vulnerabilities in WordPress itself. So yeah, basically it actually I think it depends on my mood in my current mood. Sometimes I try to find directly to the some of the known function like the exec or a file function or like the call user function and so yeah, sometimes I do that and then trace back to the source of the input, and then sometimes I'm also try to find it directly from the global variable itself, like the get, post, request, and also like the server, and then so I think it basically depends on my mood whether I am trying to search from the source or the scenes on the web itself. But mostly I am searching from the source. For the second question, sorry, can you repeat the second question?
This is not about secret research, but do you feel any way to choose safer plugin? I mean, how can you relatively guarantee that this plugin is more way safe?
Yeah, so yes, I think there is no a simple answer to this because yeah, as you can see in these slides, we are demonstrating vulnerability, critical vulnerability in very high installation count of plugins. So yeah, we cannot make sure if the highest count installation of plugin is much safer than others, but it definitely will be much more audited before, and it's probably have a better code quality because mostly the huge installation count of the plugins is developed by a big company, and it has a lot of developers on it. It has some checks here and there. So yeah, I think the most safer way to choose plugins to use is I think based on not only the active installation of a plugin, but maybe try to check if the plugins has previously addressed a vulnerability in a good timely manner. For example, in previous cases, they patched the vulnerability in 3 days or 4 days, rather than the plugins that take a long time to patch the vulnerabilities.
Thank you. Thank you for answering.
Any more questions?
Sorry, I can ask why you prioritize something like XSS, SQL injection over something like RCE? What's your reasons for doing so?
Yeah. So for the priorities for vulnerabilities itself, so yeah, basically mostly the priorities is built towards the PHP code itself. So in these cases, I am first prioritizing the previous escalation because this is the most impactful part that you can find in WordPress. Of course, there is an RCE that there is also a critical one, but it is not many plugin or things that use custom command call or something like that. So our preferred escalation is the top priority to find vulnerability in WordPress. For the second one, the XSS, as I stated previously, because the behavior because the behavior of WordPress and the current behavior of WordPress, if we receive a single XSS on WordPress, we can basically create any users with any role, including the administrator role. So in WordPress currently there is no additional security check in place if you are adding or creating a user. So you can just basically create a user using XSS. So yeah, maybe there could be like an enhancement on the WordPress itself. So when you are creating a user, you can ask for like password confirmation or like an OTP sent to the administrator email. So, but basically, for now, WordPress doesn't have that check in place. So basically, you can see process escalation using XSS. For SQL injection, of course, it is priorities to extract data from the database. And also, the fourth one is PHP object injection because it's in PHP, so we need to find PHP object injection. And then RCE and LFI also because it's PHP. And then the last one is arbitrary file read emulation. Why arbitrary file read? Because with this you can read the WP that's configured with PHP file to find some interesting data or this credential.
Is there anything else? I think that's about it. Thank you very much, Rafi. Oh, one last. Sorry.
One of the CB, you mentioned that it affects, I think, before 6.3. So how do you make that connection? Do you test the different version? Or somehow you remember through experience?
Yeah, so for these several cases, the assessment example, so yeah, so the vulnerable part itself, I think it's partially from the plugin side and also partially from the WordPress core itself. So in these cases, they both fetch the both from the plugin and the WordPress core. So in the WordPress core, it is not we cannot anymore perform this assessment.
You found it before 6.3, is it? Or you test?
Oh no, yeah. So yeah, I'm first testing the bot on the plugin itself, and then I noticed that the plugin using the built-in function, built-in filter of admin body classes in the WordPress from the WordPress core, and then I checked the function code itself in the WordPress core. So it turns out that the implementation in the core itself is not secure. So this can be solved by XSS.
All right. Thank you, Rafi. For any other questions, you can take it off stage.
Thank you. Yeah, just a simple. Yeah. So yeah, since this is my first speaker session, if you have like a feedback, feel free to give it in the link below, in the link in the slide, and hit the slide/1, and you can just mark on this. Thank you.